Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be super fun. I'm going to be sharing some shelf stable meals with you guys. I've got 3 easy and delicious meals to share, and these are shelf stable meals, so it's only items that I use out of my everyday pantry and out of my prepper pantry. Y'all have asked for a few of these videos, so for the month of November I plan on sharing some shelf stable meals with you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. So for our first prepper pantry meal, shelf stable meal, as I've shown you guys, I'm going to be using out of my stock up room prepper pantry plus my everyday pantry. It's just going to be shelf stable ingredients. So it's going to be different from your house. It's going to be different compared to what I have here stocked up compared to what you have at your house. So this is just inspiration to give you guys some ideas on what you guys can use. Or you can go even stock up on what you see here. If it looks good, then it's something you can go get to make sure you always have. So we always have bigger size, or we always have olive oil in general, and I always just keep that in the regular pantry. So today I'm going to be making some bacon fried rice. Super easy, very few ingredients. I always keep these bacon pieces on hand. So we're going to use this whole pack, so it's going to get some decent protein in for this meal. And then I've got one of these jasmine rice. I meant to pick up, they have like an actual fried rice one that already has the veggies in it, which would be, you know, really good also, but I couldn't find it. So we're just going to go in with the jasmine rice. And then I'm just going to add probably about half of this can of this mixed veggies. And don't forget your seasonings. I had talked about this before in several videos, how important it is to make sure you have a well-stocked season cabinet or extra in your stock room. And then these, I think, are super important also. You can get little condiments and keep them in your pantry. Every time we go somewhere, McDonald's, Panda Express, I always ask for extra sauces, so that way I have them put up. So I've got some soy sauce here that I'm going to use, and it doesn't have to be refrigerated. It's just been kept in the cabinet. And then I have some of this teriyaki sauce. This is so good, by the way. So these are going to help give us some flavor and seasoning for our fried rice. And then I've got garlic powder and a little bit of ginger. So I do consider, you know, those in on these meals because I talked about how important it is to season your food. You want to make sure your food tastes good. In case, you know, if you're in an emergency situation, you know, a lot of times you're just eating to survive. But when you have seasonings and like little condiments like that, you can kind of add in and make sure your food is well seasoned and you can enjoy it more. And then another thing I wanted to mention before we get started is, for me, I keep butter out. I keep a stick of butter out at all times. It's something that I've always done for years, and I'm comfortable using that. If you're not comfortable using that, they actually make jars of like clarified butter, or now it's called ghee, and that's just where they take the milk out of it and make it become shelf stable. So if you're not comfortable with having butter out, if you don't consider that a shelf stable item, then definitely recommend getting some ghee if you need butter for certain dishes. So, but for this one, I'm just going to use olive oil just to kind of give it a nice little crisp. But I wanted to mention about the butter because I will be using it throughout this video, throughout this whole video. Once the oil was heated through, I added in my minute rice. Y'all, that was so convenient to have. We will definitely be buying some more of those. That's going to cut a lot of cook time instead of having to cook the rice separately, then cooking your meal. And the only recommendation I have is to break it up in the bag a little bit before you dump it in your pan, because it was a little difficult, as you see, until it got heated through. It wasn't breaking apart. And y'all, I had rice from one end of the kitchen to the other. So of course, if you are in an emergency situation and you didn't have any electricity or running water, then you could just do this on a Blackstone if you have a Blackstone, or you can do this on a camping stove. It's just one skillet. That was one of the things I tried. I tried my best to do these in one pan meals. I know the last one's not, but just make sure to think of all that. Make sure you have a source of cooking. If you don't have any electricity, you can get pretty decent size and price camping stoves at Walmart. And if you have a grill, you can do it on a grill. Just make sure that you have like the right pans. This one right here wouldn't be a pan that's safe for the grill. If you have cast iron, definitely recommend using cast iron for like the grill or even like an open fire. So just keep that all in mind. If you are in an emergency situation, just make sure that you have your options for cooking. So I have kind of heated the rice through, added in my soy sauce, and then added in my seasonings, and then I'm just dumping that whole bag of bacon in there. And then I'm going to let that kind of heat through a little bit. Since the canned veggies are already cooked, they just need to be warmed through, and I don't want them to get mushy or break apart, so I add those just the last couple minutes, so that way they just heat through and they don't break down too much. And then I'm going to add on one of those teriyaki packets. I ended up using that whole thing for that one, and then I still had some in my pantry, so I pulled another one out and I topped it on top before I ate it. Now, if you have fresh eggs, you could definitely fry you up a couple eggs in here. We don't have chickens, so we don't have fresh eggs. So if our electricity did go out, our eggs would go bad, so we wouldn't be able to use eggs in this situation. But if you do have chickens and fresh eggs, you could easily throw an egg or two in here to give you some extra protein and be more of like a filler. So here is my bowl. Y'all, this was really, really good. I loved this. It was missing an egg for me, but all in all, it was a really good meal. This would easily feed 2 people, and I was very happy with the outcome. Next up, we're going to be doing hot dogs, mac and cheese. So for our hot dog portion, we're going to be using Vienna sausages. And y'all, I was really curious about this one, and it turned out really good with the Vienna sausages. So we're going to use the other half of that canned veggies, and then we're going to use one of the ready pastas, and then one of the packages of the Velveeta cheese sauce. So first, I just drained the liquid off of the Vienna sausages, and then I just cut those into coins, just like you would if it was a regular hot dog, if you did like regular hot dog mac and cheese. And then I've got some butter melting in my pan over on the stove, and I'm going to let that melt, and then we're just going to heat the Vienna sausages through and give them some color on both sides. Now that they've got some color, we are going to add in our packet of the ready pasta. This was great too. This was my first time using the ready pasta. Highly recommend. It does look weird coming out of the package, but once it starts heating up, it just breaks apart and it tasted great. So we're just gonna break that up, heat it through, and we will add in the rest of our ingredients. So we added in the other half of that can of veggies. And then we added in 1 packet of the Velveeta cheese sauce and then just mixed it together. I did add on some salt and some pepper and some garlic powder. And then we're just gonna toss it all and mix it all together. Here is my bowl, and this would easily feed 2 people as well. This was really, really good, y'all. I was super surprised at this one. I just kind of threw this one together, and I highly recommend make sure you keep all of those ingredients on hand. And for the last meal on this video, we're going to be using a brown gravy mix, some of the Kingstone shredded beef, some minute mashed potatoes, and a can of corn. So this one definitely isn't one of the one-pot cooking meals, but I did my best. So I just heated the corn up in the back. I added some butter to that and some salt and pepper. And then for the beef, I just opened the can up and dumped it in. I left the juices. You could see when you open the can that there's a little bit of fat in there, but I really think that helped with flavor. And so I just dumped it in, broke it up, and then just slowly heated it through. And it was actually really good. So once it was heated through, I just added in a packet of the brown gravy mix. I left the juices and everything because that's just what's going to help thicken that gravy packet up. And then I just mixed it together. It thickened up really good with the amount of liquid that was already in the can. My corn's heating up, and then on the other I had a kettle with some hot water, and I let that come to a boil, and then we're going to make our mashed potatoes. So here is my bowl. Y'all, this was really, really good. Highly recommend. I'll definitely keep all these ingredients on hand. So here's what we had left. I feel like if you did 2 bags of the instant potatoes, this could easily feed 4 people. This was the biggest meal portion that we had out of all 3 of these meals. This, of course, wasn't a one-pot one, but as long as you have different size cast iron, if you have those options of cooking with no electricity, then it could still easily be done. And that is it, y'all. I really hope you enjoyed these super easy and delicious shelf-stable meals. I really enjoyed coming up with the inspiration for these and definitely trying out what we have based off of our shelf-stable ingredients. We'll see y'all next week for another one. Bye, guys.